So, good morning. Happy Saturday. We've got a game-free weekend, which is kind of good because it means that Arsenal can't ruin our weekend. They tend to do that every weekend. But we are playing on Monday night against Bournemouth, a Bournemouth team that we drew against at the ground in December. And we got kind of lucky, let's be real. We should have lost that game. They battered us in the first half. We only had, I think it was 2 shots on target in the end. Aubameyang scored with the first shot on target in the 75th minute. And I think Joe Willock ended up having the second shot in, I think it was about the 94th minute. But listen, less than a week to go in the transfer window. Don't forget, I will be doing a transfer deadline day stream. I did it in August. I'm going to do it again this time round as well. And I'm going to get a few people on. Claude's coming on. Get to speak to Kenny Ken, my guy, my bodyguard at matches, has to look after me. I've got mad haters. Yeah, so we're going to get him on. There's going to be a few other people. Chigga, come on. We'll get quite a few people on that day. I'm going to reach out to a few others and see if we can get them on as well. But yeah, less than a week to go. And we've signed absolutely nobody so far, which is kind of worrying because we need major surgery. It's pretty mad. It's pretty crazy, the fact that we haven't signed a single player. We're linked to 1,000,001 players and we have signed absolutely nobody. But we are linked still to Thomas Lemar. And Thomas Lemar, he's apparently available for around the €40 million mark. Now, I said this yesterday when I spoke about him. I'd take him. That's about £33 million. He hasn't really worked out at Atletico Madrid. A lot of people don't rate him. I don't particularly rate him. But if he comes in, he plays on that left-hand side, I think he'd do a good job for us. And I think that sometimes people get gassed by, oh, but he didn't do it at that club, so why would he do it at this? I get that. I get it. But at the same time, I think that £33 million is worth the punt. You know, in today's market, listen, he went to Atletico for 57 million quid. We put a bid in, apparently, for 92 million quid. So for 33 million, that's a third of what we bid for him. Why not do the deal? Why not take a punt on that? It's cheaper than we paid for Mustafi. It's cheaper than we paid for Granit Xhaka. And I think that it's a no-brainer. Let's be real. I think that it'll give us more balance on the left-hand side. Yes, I know we've got Martinelli. Yes, I know we've got Bukayo Saka. But at the same time, what if they're injured? What if Aubameyang and Lacazette leave? What if they're injured? Then we put Martinelli up front. Then we play Saka left wing. What if he gets injured? There's so many, you know, views and ways you could look at it. I think that if we brought Lemar in, like I said, I don't particularly rate him, but he is a left-footed, left-sided player that can cut inside on his right, and he's decent on his right. But I'd take him. I'll take him. And another report's coming out of Spain right now is we've agreed a fee, €40 million, and he's coming to Arsenal. We shall see if that happens. We've got 6 days left, like I said. Now, let's move on to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Let me move out the way. Aubameyang, one of them ones. Let's move on to Aubameyang. Now, listen, he's got less than 18 months left on his current deal. He's been linked with Barcelona. He put in the programme notes that I'm not moving. I'm staying at Arsenal. I want to stay at Arsenal. It's all BS and I get frustrated with it, etc., etc., etc. The proof's in the pudding. Sign the deal. Sign the contract. Instead of sitting there talking a good game, why don't you just sit there and play a good game? You know, I don't understand why he hasn't signed a new deal yet. I don't get it. But we shall see what happens with this one. And listen, like I said, Raul Sanhaley has come out before and said that anyone in the last 2 years of their contract, if they don't sign a new deal, they're getting shipped out. So let's see if they stick to their word, because he is in the last 2 years. He is our top scorer. He's the Premier League top scorer last season. And he's second top this season. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Aubameyang. But listen, Barcelona are reportedly looking at 100 million. Listen, they're mad if they pay 100 million for him. I love him. I think he's great. He ain't worth £100 million. But if they're going to bid that for him, then cool, I'm taking that. Anyway, let's move on to Matvienko. Let's move back so you can see that properly. He's bowing down to me right now. All jokes aside, listen, Matvienko, I reported yesterday, we're linked to him, we're in for him, and Man City are in for him. Mikel Arteta was apparently the guy that scouted him, that wanted him, and was the guy that decided that, do you know what? Yeah, we'll take a punt on him at Man City. Now, obviously, he's gone with that at Arsenal right now, and the reports coming out from his agent. His agent's talking quite a lot right now, which is making me kind of nervous, because I think that, why are you talking so much? Why are you putting so much action out there? If this club's in for your guy, why are you talking so much? He's put out there that that we're linked to him, we're in dialogue with him, and he's basically said that we're linked to him, and it's basically happening. In no uncertain terms, in short and curlies of that, is he's saying he's coming to Arsenal. Now, yesterday it was reported that he was coming, £31 million deal. This morning, it's reported a £4.5 million loan fee, and then the £31 million. Now, I don't really know how I feel about that. Listen, I don't really know a lot about this guy, and I only go off what you guys tell me. So it's kind of mad. £31 million for a 23-year-old. He's done very well where he is. He's doing all right. He's a good defender by all accounts, from what you guys tell me, from what I've seen and what I've read. But at the same time, £4.5 million loan fee for 6 months is kind of mad. It's not even 6 months, it's 5 months. In fact, February, March, April, May, 4 months. That's kind of crazy. Plus the wages on top of that. But again, I don't know. That's going to run until deadline day, I think. And but yeah, we shall see. Let's move on to Gabriel Martinelli, my man. Yeah, my man standing there giving it boss man. And reports today suggest that Real Madrid are sniffing around him. Now, like I said yesterday, a lot of people are going, it's fake news, it's fake news. Well, it might well be fake news, but the fact is, why wouldn't they be sniffing around him? He's absolutely smashed it since he's come to Arsenal. 10 goals, 2 assists. He's been a shining light in our poor season, and his work rate, his hunger, his desire, his will to win, yeah, has been unbelievable. And listen, he's setting the standards right now. Some of them more experienced players could look at him and take a note or a leaf out of his book, but I don't know whether they will. But he's destined for greatness if he carries on. That's not trying to big him up too much, because we've seen bigger and better players come to the Premier League and have a good season. Michu's one of them. Michu came in, smashed it, and then disappeared. So let's wane it in a little bit. But 18 years old, it's kind of hard not to be excited about this guy. Every time he gets the ball, he's direct, he's raw, he runs at people. He just wants to be on the ball. He wants to take people on. He wants to go at people, and he wants to try and do something in the game to influence the game. And I'm loving it. I'm loving his rawness. I'm loving the fact that he scored so many goals. I'm loving the fact that other clubs are worried and they're sniffing around it. Liverpool yesterday, Real Madrid today, Barca tomorrow, who knows? But we need to strap this guy up to a new deal very, very quickly, because if we don't, I feel we're going to lose him for quite cheap. And reportedly, he's only on about 30 grand a week, which for an 18-year-old kid is pretty kind of mad money. But in the grand scheme of things, as a footballer, 30 grand a week is peanuts. So I think we need to strap him up to a deal. Let's not get carried away. Let's strap him up to maybe 100. Listen, if Marcus Rashford's on 200 bags a week and he's 22, let's strap this guy up to 100 grand a week. Put a 5-year deal on him. Put a 200 million buyout. Yeah, anyone wants to come sniffing around him, cool. Hit the 200 mil, you can have him. I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. And like I said, I don't think he'll leave in this window. I don't think he'll leave in the summer, if I'm honest. But he is going to have the biggest clubs in Europe sniffing around him, because he's been absolutely fantastic. And like I said, the shining light of a poor season, or one of the shining lights. But it is what it is. Anyway, listen, big up for 33k. We're moving forward to that 100k. Subscribe if you're new. I will be doing a deadline day stream. It'll be a marathon. We'll be going for a good few hours. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. Don't forget to stick a like on the video. And yeah, I'll be back at 5 p.m. Laters, peeps.